You know, everybody, 2020 has been a shitstorm of a roller coaster. I mean, what with this pandemic, and if you are from the United States like moi, this election. Yeah, 2020 hasn't been fun. But you want to know something else? Despite all of that crazy hoo-ha, there is one thing that can always be said about this land. Believe it or not, this land is made of love and peace. Happy holidays, everybody. It's your boy Derangerous. Why the fuck have I never talked about Trigun on this channel as an episode? No. Serious question. Why? Out of all the anime I've talked about Samurai Champloo. I've talked about Cowboy Bebop. I've even talked about fucking Pop Team Epic. Never did an episode on Trigun. And we're in the 3rd season. It's kind of embarrassing on my part because, you know, that's just Stampede. It's Trigun. It's fucking Trigun. Trigun is a classic. Trigun is literally amazing. I've talked about it. I think I've made references to it in a few episodes, but I've never done an episode on Trigun. This is borderline insulting for me as an anime fan that I have not talked about Trigun. So let's change that. Thanks to my good friend Asante for reminding me of Trigun. You know, this series. In case you all were wondering, what is that? For those of you who've never seen it, I'm changing people's minds today. But if I'm gonna be doing an episode on Trigun, I've gotta kinda get in the mood for it, if you catch my drift. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So, without any further ado, Moon Prism Power. Okay, how about this? Moon Prism Glasses Power. This is the closest I'll get to being a magical girl. To understand Trigun, we've got to understand its creator, Yasuhiro Naitao. Naitao was born in the Yokohama prefecture. He had his first exposure to manga and comics through a little something called Tensai Bakabon, which is a very, very, very strange series. In fact, that was his first series that got him exposed to the world of anime and manga. Just like my series, Samurai Pizza Cats. Oh my God, I'm gonna be the next Naitao. Oh yeah, that's right. I can't draw. Naitao attended Hosei University. While there, he majored in media studies and he drew manga as a hobby. You know, that's what you do in college. When he graduated, he then became a full-fledged mangaka, creating works out the wazoo constantly. This was what he did exactly when he graduated. That's a lie. Nah. As soon as he graduated, he sold apartments for not 1, not 2, but 3 years. And deep down inside, he hated his job. Why? Because he couldn't draw manga most of the time. I mean, you're sitting there going to a 9-to-5 job Monday through Friday and you're just drawing manga in your spare time, and then when you can't draw in your spare time, it's like your main life takes over the things that bring you joy, and then you just start to hate everything, and then you realize you are 30 years old. And anyway, like every normal human being, he decided that, you know what? This shit sucks. Quits his job and decides to be a manga artist full-time. In fact, his very first one-shot was based off of the video game Samurai Spirits. It's really actually not bad. Check it out. In 1995, he then submitted the work for a new series he was working on. It's no big deal what the series was. However, at one point, the series ended up getting canceled. And it made Naitao really depressed because he's the kind of person that likes to finish his work all the way through. So when he got a new publisher, His publisher wanted him to create some really, really new works and everything. Some real fancy shit. But Night Owl was so fixated on his previous work that he asked his publisher, could he please finish it? So, with a little bit of rebranding, he was able to finish up that series. What was that series, you ask? Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, was fucking Trigun here, okay? Trigun was a big deal to Night Owl, okay? Little did he know it was going to be a big success, but it was still a big deal to him. That just shows how much he cared about it. In fact, when I said that they had to do a little changing, the main thing they changed was the name. You see, back then, Trigun was just called Trigun, okay? In big old fancy red letters. But since he was with a new publisher and everything, he had to kind of change the name a bit, and thus he created Trigun Maximum, okay? Because the maximum part, it sounds cool. You know it does sound cool, be honest. Like, slap maximum on something, okay? And it's gonna sound even better. Since Trigun, Night Owl has created other great series. He's made Blood Blockade Battlefront and the video game series turned anime series Gungrave, which shares a lot of similarities with Trigun. Goes to show you, you can accomplish a lot in life when you quit selling apartments. Trigun is sort of similar to Ghost Stories in a sense, but better. Let me explain. You see, when Trigun first came out in Japan, no one gave a shit about it. In fact, yeah, literally no one really cared about it. It had barely any popularity. It was like,
oh yeah, that's Trigun. Yeah. That's a series. It's there.
However, in the early 2000s, okay, kids were staying up late to watch Adult Swim on Cartoon Network. Late at night, Adult Swim would just every so often sneak in a more mature anime. You had shows like Yu Yu Hakusho, Cowboy Bebop, Fooly Cooly, and you had Trigun. When Trigun came on in the United States in the early 2000s, right there, right fucking there, that's when the series exploded. In the United States, people loved Trigun. You know what? It's not that they loved it, they still love Trigun. I remember being that young, trying to stay up late to watch Adult Swim, making sure my parents don't know I'm watching something called Adult Swim, and I'm going,
okay, they're asleep, okay, let's see.
It was so amazing because it's so simple. And it's not simple in a bad way. It's taking something simple and just exploding it into something different. And that's what makes Trigun truly amazing. Night Owl took this very personally, as it really, really made him feel great that the Americans loved Trigun. Trigun was made in the 1990s, okay? Manga and anime. It came to the United States in the early 2000s, and believe it or not, years later, and I mean in the year 2010, because of its American fan base, Night Owl made a Trigun movie, okay? Updated animation and everything. You gotta love it when a creator is that passionate about his work and that he appreciates his fan base to the point that he's made a movie just for them because they love his work. With all this hype I've been giving about Night Owl and Trigun and everything, let's talk about what the plot of Trigun actually is. It's simple. Bonanza meets Gunsmoke with a splash of Kota Hirano. Oh, and also plants. Okay, fine. I'll tell you about what it actually is. You've got a man who goes around and causes destruction. 9 times out of 10, it's unintentional, but it happens, and as a result, he gets a bounty, a very high bounty. And then some wackiness occurs when people try to claim the bounty, and some other things happen, and knives. That literally is the plot. Oh, and also the name of the planet, it's called Gunsmoke. Because, you know, Gunsmoke. Pew, pew, pew. Let's meet the characters of Trigun, shall we? Our first character is Vash the Stampede. However, he does not always go by Vash the Stampede. You see, his name is also, and let me grab my file right quick, Ahem. Valentinas Alkilinella Zethox Ccia Dober Hertz. Gombia Bella Blue Stradivari. Talent Trent Pierre Andre Charton Hemos. Ivanovici Baldis George Doitzel Kaiser III. Try saying that 5 times fast. Aside from also being called that extremely long name, he is also known as the Humanoid Typhoon or the 60 billion double dollar man. Why is he called that? Because he causes nothing but destruction wherever he goes, like a typhoon. You see, believe it or not, Vash is actually a pacifist. Yeah, he is a hardcore pacifist. He does everything in his power to just eat donuts and not use his gun. If he does use his gun, he tries to use it in a way that doesn't cause harm. But him being in a place causes destruction. It's not the fact that he takes out the gun and just starts going all, bang, bang, American style. No. What happens is he goes into an area, people recognize him, and everyone takes out guns and starts shooting at him, and he screams like a little baby, wondering why people have to be so mean. He's dangerous around people. Well, no. It's more like people become dangerous when they're around him. That works. Vash is also a happy guy. He loves to go around and spread love and peace while also dancing like a complete and total buffoon. But despite the pacifism and everything, Vash is actually one of the best gunmen out there. Hell, his aim is always on point. He also can dodge bullets, he can heal, and he is very crafty in some of his tricks. Like there was this one time. Vash is a really funny guy. Our next characters are actually a duo. Hailing from the Bernard Daly Insurance Society, we've got Merrel and Millie. Let's start off with Merrel Strife, okay? She is headstrong, super serious, and literally no nonsense, barely even has time to play games, and constantly follows Vash the Stampede with a burning passion because she loves him. Also, don't let her short stature fool you. Merrel actually packs heat, times 50, as in she carries 50 guns on her. Derringers, to be more specific. To complete the duo, you also have Merrel's partner, Millie Thompson, aka one of my waifus. Millie is just such a sweet, sweet girl. I mean, look at her. She's caring, she's a bit of a crybaby, and she doesn't want to intentionally harm people. While at the same time, this lady is a giant woman standing at 5'11", and she is just gorgeous. Also, just like Merrel, she packs heat too. Whereas Merrel carries around 50 mini pistols, Millie carries around a fucking Gatling gun, okay? That shoots big old bolts that just stun people. Oh, and when I mentioned that those two girls work for an insurance society, it's not code for a gang of mercenaries or assassins or anything. They literally sell insurance. I mean, come on. You got a guy known as the Humanoid Typhoon. You follow him around, you're about to make big bank right there. Next up, you got a personal favorite character of mine, Nicholas D. Wolfwood. Wolfwood is a priest who occasionally travels with Vash. You see, he is a man of God who also smokes, then gambles, and at times might charge people to do confessionals. But he cares deeply. Wolfwood is a pure example that nothing is stronger than your faith in God. Except for his Punisher cross. You see, his Punisher cross holds a multitude of pistols, doubles as a rocket launcher, and houses a very powerful machine gun that tears ass 10 ways forward. And also, a part of the other characters, you've got Kuroneko. Kuroneko is just a little black cat who appears in every episode. No, isn't he adorable? Now, in Trigun, you got some villains, and trust me, there are too many villains for me to name, but the ones who are super significant would be Monev the Gale, whose name is actually Venom spelled backwards, and who is actually kind of based off of Venom in appearance. You've got Legato Blue Summers, who is a guy who wants to see Vash suffer in any sort of way possible, but no one goes even further than the main villain of Trigun, Knives Million. And no, not the knives from Scott Pilgrim. I'm talking about anime knives, okay? This guy is Vash's. So anyway, moving on. Trigun is a series that presents a very unique philosophy. Sometimes being a pacifist ain't gonna do shit. In history, and a lot of historical and famous people will all agree that one of the worst things you could do is remain neutral, okay? Why is it bad to remain neutral? Because if you're neutral and you refuse to take a side, that means you are just as bad as the side you're trying to present yourself not being affiliated with. This is seen heavily in Trigun with Vash being a pacifist. Vash is a caring person, don't get me wrong, okay? He cares. He is a really great guy. He's happy. I love the man. The guy is such a great character. But him being a pacifist is literally a huge mistake. Because there are instances in the whole anime where Vash has to literally bite the bullet, no pun intended, and actually get involved and get his hands dirty. Sometimes you're gonna have to actually pull the trigger and end a person's life if it means you're going to save a million more lives. But Vash is so hesitant to take that active role that there are moments. Do I personally believe violence is the way to solve all problems? Hell no, okay? If you can avoid violence as best as you can, avoid it. That's a really good idea. However, if you know that you're going to have to get violent at some point, you're gonna have to face it. You have to confront it. You can't just sit back and run away and watch some. But the unique thing about Vash is that he learns. Trigun is a journey, and not to be all hokey, sentimental about it, it's a very interesting journey because we're watching him grow and learn that as time goes by, there are some things you just have to do. You can't just keep running away from your problems. You gotta get up and face it, because if you get up and face your problems and acknowledge the challenges in front of you and take an active role instead of remaining passive or neutral, then only then can you build a land and acknowledge that it is made of love and peace. Had to do it. But yeah, I hope you all really did enjoy this episode of Let's Talk Anime. As usual, I'm your host, Derangerous. If you like this episode, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, and if you're on YouTube, bell icon, get notifications when we come back. But also, I just want to say thank you to everybody out there. No, this is serious, from the deepest part of my heart. When I started Let's Talk Anime, I never thought it was gonna be anything. I just thought it was just gonna be something fun I do, just sit there, talk about anime, call it a day. But with all the people who've been cheering me on, supporting me, watching my videos and everything, and you know, it's just been really fun. I'm not ending Let's Talk Anime. I just wanna say thank you to all the people who choose to sit here and watch my show, because I appreciate you all very much. So with that being said, folks, peace out. You dickhead!